And then I do this thing where I go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3.
My therapist told me to do that. Oh my god. Okay. Hey, what's up? This is Tiffany with Getting to Know Over Drinks, and welcome to the very first episode. This is also a Jersey Stars episode, and as a proud Jersey girl, I have to highlight all the talent and all that's good that comes out of the Garden State. Disclaimer though, our very first guest is from New York, but she did move to Jersey when she was just 9 years old, and according to her, she's a Jersey girl. So today we are getting to know Marjorie Murillo over drinks. Marjorie, how do you feel being here?
I am so excited to be here. I am so ready for this.
I'm so excited that you're here. On every episode of our show, I always ask my guests what their favorite drinks are, and I make it for them, and we're just going to drink it throughout the show. So yours is a virgin pina colada.
Yes.
So we're going to drink it. You're going to rate it. But before we get to that, why is this your favorite drink?
I love coconut. I think I'm actually addicted to coconut.
Yeah.
Like when I was little, coconut ice cream was my favorite thing. Coconut water was my favorite thing.
Mhm.
Coconut milk is my favorite thing. And then when I tried the pina colada for the first time, when I was like young, I don't remember exactly what age, but young, I think like drank like 20 in one sitting. And I have never gotten rid of that addiction.
Like cups?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
To be fair, they were probably like Dixie cups, but like
okay,
still.
that's fair. So shots, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's great. I guess let's try it, and hopefully I didn't mess this up. Okay. All right, here. Cheers, and thank you for joining me.
It's amazing.
Yay! Oh my god!
It is
Okay,
amazing.
Great. Awesome. No,
Oh my
I thought it was
gosh.
really good. I was like literally holding in my reaction because I didn't know what to think.
I need this recipe.
So I've known Marjorie for 12 years, and I am still fascinated by her. This is a girl who was considered a kid genius at just 4 years old by the government, and she would have graduated college by 15 years old if she joined the program. And this is also a girl who graduated as a valedictorian with a 5.0 GPA from our high school, and she knows how to rap all of Hamilton and Eminem's Rap God. But here's the twist. She's an actress, and she went to school for acting, but not just any acting school. She went to NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, part of the ETW program, where she graduated with a 4.0 GPA. Marjorie likes to say that her life is like a TV show full of interesting episodes and seasons, and I thought, let's talk about it. Marjorie, explain the government story.
Okay, so basically, the way my mom says it, all right, because I was 4, I don't remember anything, but the way my mom says it is that I actually started reading around the age of 2.5. So much so that, like, I think someone contacted the government, according to my mom,
God,
or like someone in the New York state. And then they came, they had me like read a bunch of books. And then they kind of like certified me a kid genius. According to my mom, the certificate is lost somewhere. It used to be in our apartment in New York, and like we have not been able to find it since, just because we have so many documents. We keep everything. It should be somewhere, but we're not entirely sure where. But yeah, it's kind of insane. But yeah, my mom decided not to put me in the program because it would basically mean like me having to spend like 12, 13 hours a day just like taking tests and like doing everything. And my mom wanted me to be a kid still and like have my childhood, which is also why like she decided not to go through with it. But she knew that eventually, all the skills that I had would probably like lead to something great. Which I mean, I hope she was right. But yeah, that's the story. It's a really weird one, but I'm actually kind of proud of it.
Have you ever like sat back and thought about how ironic it is though that you are so academically advanced and you're also an actress?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I think the two things kind of intertwine though, because
Mhm.
I feel like being able to kind of like memorize things really quickly and read things really quickly and really like be able to like interpret things, especially in like scripts and stuff, has really helped me like in my acting career, especially. And I think those are all skills that I kind of naturally had growing up, especially like through reading so much, and like thinking so analytically at a young age. So I think the two things kind of went hand in hand in a way.
Marge, I thought it'd be fun if we do a lightning round. So I'm just
I
going to
love
ask
it.
you a bunch of questions and let's see how this goes.
Amazing.
Okay, ready?
Mhm.
What's your dream role?
Eliza in Hamilton.
Favorite actors?
Oh my gosh. Viola Davis, 100%. Andrew Garfield. And then theater, I mean, I have to say Cynthia Erivo.
Dream co-stars.
I had to go into the music world. Joe Jonas, Andrew Garfield, 100%
Mhm.
amazing actor. Viola Davis. I
Mm.
would love to do anything with Viola Davis, to be honest.
So who would you want to play you in a biopic?
Honestly, I kind of would love like an upcoming actor to play me.
What's your dream career? Is it in Broadway, TV, or film, or all three?
I think all three,
Mhm.
personally. I would love to start off on Broadway because that's kind of like my home base, but I would love to do all three.
What has been your favorite and least favorite role you've played?
Okay, so my favorite role I've ever played was actually in Cinderella. I played a kind of like put in character called Blanche, who was a fairy godmother who walked around with a bedazzled cane and hit people. My least favorite role, I don't have a least favorite role in particular. If anything, I would say like I played this one character named Liesel in this play in high school.
So how would you describe your acting in 5 words?
Analytical, emotional, in depth. I'm gonna count that as two. And I want to say powerful, I hope.
Hidden talent.
Well, I have two. I can whistle really well. I'm a really good whistler.
Hmm.
And also I can solve a Rubik's Cube in under a minute.
I forgot about that. Yes, you can. What's your least and favorite thing about Jersey?
My favorite thing about Jersey is how peaceful it is compared to the city. My least favorite thing about Jersey is that you need a car to get so many places.
Everywhere. Are there any other hobbies or interests now or that you had growing up?
Um, I really love makeup, makeup design, especially like special effects makeup.
Mhm.
I think that that's definitely number one. And then also puzzles. I love any kind of puzzles, like mysteries, like crime solving, all of that.
Do you frame them?
Yeah, I do
You do?
actually. I do have
I
so
love
many
that.
framed in my room.
So how did you get into acting? Was there anyone in your family or anyone that inspired you?
Actually, no one in my family does acting in particular, mostly because like in El Salvador, it's not really like a career that a lot of people go into.
Mm.
I just kind of I think through Disney Channel and through watching people on Disney Channel and movies, I think that that's what really inspired me to be like I really love doing that. I actually started off as more of like a singer.
Oh, okay.
um, and always said growing up I wanted to be a singer slash actor because that's what everyone on Disney Channel was.
Yeah, literally.
And I think that eventually I really transitioned into like I love acting, and I think that like acting can like be put into so many of the other forms of art. Like acting can be in like singing, acting can be in dance, and like I think like that really enhance like being a good actor really enhances all those other things. So I think that like growing up I really loved watching movies and everything, and I think that that's what really inspired me to be like I want to act, I want to be that for like the next generation.
Yeah.
And I
So
just kind of fell in love with it.
so what was the movie or like the movies that
High School
inspired you?
Musical.
Oh, you're so funny for that.
High School
Yes.
Musical. It's probably one of my earliest memories is watching High School Musical 3 in theaters. It was the very first movie I ever watched in theaters. I had watched the other two on Disney Channel back when it was a thing.
Hmm.
Um, and I just think that those movies, I fell in love with them. And those are definitely like the start of like my obsession with like acting and musicals and everything.
Yeah. What was the moment when you said though, I'm pursuing this as a career?
I think in my head I always knew, but I finally said it out loud when I was applying to colleges. Because I realized that this is what I really love doing. This is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And like whenever I thought about going to college for like biology or like engineering or computer science and all that, I just kind of did not feel the same excitement as if, I was going to college for like the arts and performing and acting. And I think that that was a moment I was like, I really just definitely want to take this seriously. Like, I don't want it to just be like a dream and just in the back of my head because it's going to be haunting me forever if I don't actually pursue it. So I think that junior year, or maybe even a little earlier, is when I finally decided like this is what I'm going to pursue 100%.
But was there ever anything else you wanted to do besides acting?
Not really. I had thought about like very briefly doing like science, but it was only because I was good at it, and it was kind of interesting to me. But honestly, like I think like acting, performing in general was just always like my number one thing, and I don't really have anything that kind of ever came super close to that.
So the two of us went to middle school and high
Mhm.
school together, and I know you had a hard time landing the roles you wanted in drama club. In fact, you never got the roles you wanted.
Yeah.
Still nailed all the ones you did though. But that never stopped you. And I feel like for a lot of people, they would have taken that as I don't know, assigned to try something else, or they would have just been defeated and given up.
Mm.
You never did. And I never asked you why.
First of all, I'm very stubborn. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very determined. Honestly, if someone tells me no, it gives me more incentive to want to actually continue pursuing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the number one thing is that I just loved acting. I just loved performing, and I knew that like if I gave up on this, like what else was I gonna do? Because I didn't really see myself like joining another extracurricular activity that was different. Because I would always be like, oh, but if I join drama club, and also like I think eventually after maybe the first two times I didn't get the role I wanted, I kind of realized that like I can make with the roles that I do have something really special and I can like infuse myself in them. Also because a lot of the roles that I did end up playing were like roles that were written for the drama club, and like shows written for the drama club. So they didn't really exist before. Which is like kind of how I started off with like the whole originating roles thing because I realized that I really love just like creating a character from the ground up, which is not something you're able to do if you're playing like Cinderella or if you're playing like a title character that everyone knows really well. But if you're playing like Blanche,
Oh, I love Blanche. This is like the one character I remember her doing in high school. It is icon. Can you actually like talk about that a little bit?
yeah. So basically, Blanche was, as I said before, an old fairy godmother
A
who
decrepit
a
old.
decrepit old fairy
Yeah.
godmother, the third fairy godmother actually of Cinderella. It was a wild
Yeah.
interpretation of Cinderella. Um, and basically, like I had originally auditioned for Cinderella slash the fairy godmother. I was given this character called Blanche, and I remember looking at the cast list. I was very upset because it was my junior year of high school, and I really wanted like that lead role for once. But then, like, I ended up talking to this guy named Wes, who was like a coach that the drama club had brought on for the semester, and I was very sad. And I told him like, "Oh, like I like feel like really upset and like I don't know what to do and like should I even do the musical?" And he told me he was like, "Listen, there has never been another Blanche. And there will probably never be another Blanche. So do with this character what you always wanted to do with the roles." And I'm a very like I love playing characters that are very different from myself. So I was like, why not just play her as like this old, decrepit, like 90-year-old like fairy godmother who smokes every day?
No, literally, kind of sounds like Big Ange with like a pink wig for a while.
Literally. And so like I was like, let me do this because I don't know when I would have an opportunity to do this kind of thing again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's when I really was like, wow, I love originating stuff.
In school, everyone thought you were pretty nuts to pursue acting, and I feel like that was especially like our teachers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got waitlisted at Harvard, and you rejected Cornell, which is insane. But what was that pressure like during that time, and like the thoughts and the feelings you were having, and what ultimately made you choose Tish?
It was insane. I think that probably that was the most stressful like time I've ever had in my entire life, like the junior slash senior year of high school. And I think that there was a lot of pressure, especially because it was kind of locked my junior year that I was going to be valedictorian.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like with that pressure came like a bunch of like you have to apply to all the Ivies, like you have to like you know make sure you're like picking a really good major because like as a valedictorian, like the past valedictorians, some of them have gone to Ivy Leagues, like most of them are majoring in like biomedical engineering. I don't know. Like you said, I got waitlisted at Harvard, and then got accepted into Cornell. I remember getting those. The entire school found out very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it was just a lot of pressure to be like, "Oh, like you're obviously gonna go there, right?" And like NYU, I didn't find out until like almost the end because I decided to apply regular decision instead of early decision. Um, and I remember when I found out I got into NYU, I've never had a bigger reaction. I literally cried. And I was like, the acceptance to Cornell was nice. The waitlist from Harvard was nice, but like it didn't make me cry because NYU has been my dream school, had been my dream school for years. I literally have an essay from eighth grade talking about how much I love NYU. Um, and I remember I was like, that means that I would have to pursue acting because I did get into the acting program and you can't really switch your majors or anything. And like I got into Cornell for I think something bio related. And I just remember thinking like, oh shoot, like this is like the real decision maker. By the end of the day, I was like, what am I gonna be happier doing? What am I gonna actually willingly want to spend 4 years doing? And then I picked Tish, which was the disappointment of many of my teachers, except for Miss Perez, my Spanish teacher. She actually
Oh,
had a
yeah.
really strong feeling that I was going to pick NYU and actually encouraged me to pick NYU as opposed to Cornell. I think that like having her and having also all of my friends be like, you have to pick NYU. Also because I got a really good scholarship to NYU, so I didn't have to pay like the freaking 100K that people have to pay every semester. um, I think that that's really where I was like, I need to go to NYU. I'm sorry, Cornell. Sorry, Harvard, but I have to go to NYU.
Sorry, Ivies.
Sorry, Ivies.
So your parents immigrated from El Salvador. You were first gen. They were super strict with you and your sister, which ended up paying off academically. I mean, your sister just graduated from UPenn, and obviously, look at you. They definitely pressured you with kind of getting that stereotypical job in like the medical field or like as a lawyer, as a blah blah blah. So, what was that conversation telling them? Like, hey, like I want to do acting.
Yeah, so I think they definitely had a feeling. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't come out of absolutely nowhere. It was kind of a slow burn, in a way, because like, I mean, I had always been obsessed with like acting, and like even when I was really little, like just performing in general. I remember begging to be put into like ballet classes and everything. I was in every single talent show available in elementary school, middle school, high school, and then like of course did all the shows in high school, and like was president of the drama club. So I was as committed as it could be. And I think like when I sat my parents down and I was like, this is what I want to do. I think it was no surprise to them, especially because like when I went to the NYU open house, I had the option of going to like the CAS, which is the College of Arts and Science, like meeting and like information session, but instead I chose to go to the Tisch School of the Arts one. And I think that that's what my mom was really like when she sat down and she was hearing like all the people speak about like the auditions and stuff. She was like, yeah, she wouldn't have spent a whole day here if she wasn't actually considering applying.
Yeah.
um so I think like when I told them like I want to apply for, acting, I think it was kind of like a, well, yeah, like this was bound to happen, but it was still maybe like for them a little bit like, okay, so it's official. But it was definitely, that conversation was very hard because it was like I was terrified because I was like, I'm officially making the decision now, and like I don't know if this is gonna pay off or not in the end. And I think it was the same way for them.
So I feel like the most impressive thing to me about you is that you never let your parents, um, any like critics, or I feel like even your own doubts stop you. And I feel that being so young, you're impressionable and you're easily persuaded to not only please your parents, especially when they're immigrants and they have certain expectations and you don't want to like disappoint them, or you just really care about what people think consciously or subconsciously when you're that young. Did you just like have the opposite problem where you didn't care, or were you smart enough to kind of get out of that like narrow picture and see the bigger picture of like, I'm choosing my dream. Like, really, the question is like, how did you keep choosing acting every time?
I think it was exactly what you said, the second one, where like I did have the doubts and I did have the, should I actually listen to like
Mm-hmm.
what people say? Um, but I think like at the end of the day, I kind of like looked at the bigger picture because I think you only have one life. They said when we were young, they said YOLO.
They did. Oh my
You
god.
only live one. You only live once. And I think that like I had a very clear idea of like what I wanted, what made me happy. Like I was a big daydreamer. Like whenever I daydreamed into like my future out, and like it didn't involve acting, like I just didn't, have that same feeling as like when I would like think about being on a stage or
Mm-hmm.
anything. And I think despite the hardships, I think that that is really what like got me through everything. Also, just because like the feeling I get when I like perform, whether it be like singing or like dancing in an ensemble or like acting, especially, I think that like holding on to that feeling and being like nothing makes me feel the same way really like trumped anything that like everyone else was saying. Because it was like I need to stop caring about like what other people are gonna think, because this is my life. Like maybe in like 50 years, like those critics won't even like remember like that they even said that. um but I can like prove them wrong regardless. And I think that like just thinking that and being like, this is my life, emphasis on my, um is what really made me even more determined to be like, acting is what I want to do, period.
So, like you said before, Tisch was your dream school, so much so that you wrote that essay back in middle school, probably manifesting it.
Yeah.
And it's considered one of the best acting programs in the world. But what was so fascinating, finding out from you and a lot of your peers, is that it doesn't seem to be the best, at least when it comes to preparing you guys to the business side of acting. And some of the things that I gathered was that I have written down here. Students don't get showcases. So there's no agents, there's no directors, there's no producers coming in to see you guys, to find you guys. And then there's obviously no way for you guys to connect with them. And then you're basically not allowed to audition. Well, you're really heavily discouraged to do anything outside of the school. And for your first year, you aren't able to perform anything at the school. I mean, don't you feel like that's counterintuitive? Because from an outsider's perspective, isn't it kind of common sense for these things to be offered and taught to you guys?
Yeah, I think that that definitely was one of the downsides of NYU,
Yeah.
despite how great the training is and despite
Mm-hmm.
how many incredible actors they have coming out of their program. I think
Right.
that like the lack of showing students the business side of everything
Yeah.
definitely was a hindrance in
And there's no
terms.
like business like
Yeah,
class
there's
for it.
no
Yeah.
business class. The only way you can really learn about the business side of everything is if you actively take classes at like Stern,
Mm.
for like business entertainment. But those classes, of course, like cost credits, and like not everyone like has enough credits or like wants to use their credits on like learning, the business side when like they expect their teachers to like tell them and everything. Um, so I think that like for sure, like Tish definitely had its like downsides in that. I mean, like you said, like having no showcases. I mean, we have six different studios. Studios are max like 40 students each one. Like there could have been like a studio showcase. And I know some studios do try to do something similar. My studio did not because I mean, ETW is amazing in its own right. There's so many opportunities that we get within the program, but it was a very like, you create things yourself, so you don't really need help kind of a
Mm-hmm.
mentality, which I mean is great for those who want to become like independent artists, but like for those of us who like actively want to join the industry, like finding agents and like producers and everything and learning how to build those connections wasn't really given to us.
Bouncing off of that, don't you feel like having had all of that, wouldn't it have been easier for you to
It
transition
would
into
have
the
been
real
a
world?
lot more helpful, yeah, especially like I would have loved to have had a showcase, especially because there's so many talented people at NYU that were specifically in my program, but also in the school in general, who like right now are struggling to get agents or struggling to get auditions or managers or anything. And I'm like, you're more than capable.
Which, by the way, sounds kind of crazy coming from Tisch students. Again, it's considered one of
Exactly.
the best programs in the world. So
Exactly.
I don't
Like
know, it's just mind
our
boggling.
training is top tier.
Right.
So many famous and incredible actors come out of our program. So you would think that like, agents and managers would be rushing to get
Yeah.
these kids in like audition rooms.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just that they're not being able to be seen because without a showcase, without opportunities really to perform your freshman year, and also having to compete against hundreds of your other peers for like 20 slots in a show that only happen like twice a year, it like becomes a game at that point,
Mm-hmm.
even within the school when technically you're not even supposed to play the game of the industry until after you get
Right.
out.
Yeah.
um so I think that that is what really like put like a halt on a lot of students careers after college, because it's like no one really helped us figure out what's coming next, so we just kind of have to deal with it on our own. We can act, but like how are we going to manage the rest of it?
So do you kind of regret not taking the other route of like I feel like a lot of people, whether they're dancers, singers,
Mm-hmm.
especially actors, either they'll go to LA or they'll go to the city and they just audition. They audition, and then if they want to keep training in their craft, they just go to like a conservatory or just do like these workshops
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. I mean, do you kind of wish you took that route, or do you? How do you feel about that?
Personally, I think that like I'm actually very happy I chose to go to NYU,
Mm-hmm.
despite like all the downsides and everything. Like I think on a personal level, my journey at NYU was definitely, I think, personally what I needed. Especially in the training sense. I came to NYU with absolutely zero training. All I had were my little roles in high school. Had never taken a full on acting class, had never taken a dance class, had never had singing lessons. I was coming in so bright eyed and fresh. Like it was really funny because my friends would talk about like Stanislavski and Chekhov and all these other like like acting methods and teachers, and I was like, who are these people? Who are these people? Um, and so like I came in very not knowing anything, and I think that NYU really helped me learn like all of that. And I think that that training is what I really needed to become the actor that I am now. And also like I met some of my best friends there,
Mhm.
people that like I still work with now, people who I absolutely adore, like seeing their work and working with them. And I think that like just having met them and like the training that I did get and like it building me to what I am now as the performer, I think that that all was like worth the whole NYU thing, despite like the whole business side of it not really being included. Because I feel like I would not have gotten that had I gone straight out of high school. I think I would have been even more lost,
Mm.
honestly.
So this is a bit of a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
But after college, you struggled to land a job in acting, really in a related field, and to even find a regular job because really what was your experience was just acting. You worked at CVS for 2 years, I believe,
Yeah,
and for a
just about.
while at a spa. Working pretty long, gruesome hours for minimum wage. That could not have been easy for someone with your credentials and your talent. You had everything not go through this struggle. Did you ever acknowledge that? And did you ever have thoughts going in your head like, I shouldn't be here? I really regret not getting a regular degree. Not an artistic degree or whatever. Just what were your thoughts and your emotions like how did you feel like your light dimmed a little during that time period?
I think like yeah, because I feel like especially coming right out of college, you have a lot of dreams and aspirations and you're like, the pandemic is like things are coming back and
Yeah.
everything. Um and you're like, this is like my time. Like I'm straight out of college, like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as they say, and like this is the time to do it. And I feel like, I mean, with CVS, like the job just kind of came out of nowhere. I really, really did not want to like be unemployed right after college, and I knew that like getting an acting job was going to take a little bit of some time, um, and I needed something in the meantime. But when I took on that job, I didn't realize how much it was gonna energetically drain me. Because, like you said, like standing up straight for like 10 hours a day, like dealing with like a bunch of like patients and a bunch of customers, in a field that I absolutely had nothing to do with. I think like there was like a lot of points in my life, especially during that time period, where I was like, I don't belong here. Like I need to like get out of here. And I think that like instead of like fully dimming my light, I think it might have like even increased like my want to like continue training and continue like pushing myself. Like when I was at CVS is like the time when I really like took seriously. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take acting classes like again outside of school, or I'm gonna like actively like update my headshots and update like all of my reels and everything. And I really like got inspiration from just how atrocious my 9 to 5, 8 to 6 was. Um, that I was like, I need to get out of here. Um, but yeah, there were a lot of times though where I was like, I never fully regretted like going to school for an artistic degree. I just mostly sometimes was like, wow, I should have maybe done something else in addition. I mean, I did do my minor in communications, culture, and media, but that was kind of a little bit in the same realm as like liberal arts theater, seeing everyone else grow and like also like seeing like my peers from NYU, some of them being like, oh, I'm making my Broadway debut, or like being like, oh, I just got cast in like this reading. Um, really like was like a little bit of a struggle for me. But I know that everyone has their own path. And I know that like, all that struggle only made me stronger. I mean, again, stubborn, determined.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that at the end of the day, like, despite the hardships that I had there, I think that that really motivated me to being like, I need to do what I can to get out and be the best that I can be so that I can like when the time finally comes, when I finally get my opportunity to snatch it and
Hmm.
not let it go.
So you went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival with some of your peers from
Yeah.
theater company Della Luna, which is the
Yes.
theater company you co-founded
Mhm.
with your friends from Tish. You guys went to Europe for 7 months and performed your original show, Love's Concordia. You performed it for a month, I
A month,
believe,
yeah.
8 times a week, right?
It was 7 days a week, but we never
7
had a
days.
break.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of performing. But at this festival, competing with thousands of other performers, all for the chance to get it on a bigger platform and hopefully noticed by maybe an agent or producer.
Mm.
You personally not only got to do a lot of acting, which is great, but you became your own producer, scriptwriter, director, marketing manager. I mean, how valuable has that experience been for you, and has it made it easier for you to find a job in an acting related?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I think that experience was definitely the well, number one, the best experience I've ever had in my life, but
Mm-hmm.
also the most worthwhile experience I've ever had in my life. It was also the hardest experience I've ever had in my life. I was producing full scale for the first time. We were coming up with like marketing strategies for the show, all while like rehearsing and like doing this character that is was also very difficult for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just like I think doing producing and marketing meetings at like 10 a.m. to like 12, and then like from like 12 to like 4 doing rehearsals, and then like when we were actually in Edinburgh, like flyering from like 4 to like 8 or whatever, and with only little breaks in between, and then like immediately going from flyering in the streets, trying to get people to come see your show, which is exhausting, to like doing the show at 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and then going to bed super late. Sometimes we would like go out with like casts, other casts, or like people who would come see the show to like be able to like connect with people and everything. It's a lot, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that experience definitely like made me ready and made me like learn more about the industry and like make me realize that like in addition to like acting, which I already knew I absolutely adored, I actually also really loved producing. And I really love like being able to like make decisions and also being able to like manage like a show and like say like not only that I write the show, which I did, I co-wrote it with my friend Eduardo, like and act in it, I also partially produced it and like
Mm-hmm.
managed it and like helped help bring the show to Edinburgh, which in and of itself is a very difficult feat. Like not a lot of people do it. It's very expensive, very hard in general, especially as independent producers. And I think that all those skills helped me when I came back here be like, you know, I love acting and I love doing all this and I want to continue pursuing it, but like I also need money. But I want to make money doing something in a similar field. And I was like, how about management? How about producing?
Mm.
um, and that experience at Edinburgh is actually what led me to the job I have now.
So what are you doing now, job wise?
Well, I met this general manager in Edinburgh.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what general management was, but the
Mm-hmm.
general manager is really the person who helps make the show run
Mm-hmm.
and helps put the show together. Like without a general manager, there is no show.
Mm, yeah.
Um, and I met the general manager in Edinburgh, and I was so curious about like the business side of the industry again because like I was not taught it before.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I got her card and I took a couple of her like online classes. They were so cheap, like $20, like so much cheaper than having like going through like a whole like undergrad program and just like learning, like having a speed crash course on like learning about the unions on Broadway, learning about like how a show goes from like an idea onto the Broadway stage and like all of that. Like I learned all of that through her classes. And I was like, I kind of really love this. This is kind of like what I did in Edinburgh
Yeah.
that I really like doing. And so I applied for a bunch of internships at general management companies around the city, off Broadway, regional, um, in Jersey. And I was lucky enough that like in January, after being at this spa that I was working at for 4 months, that it was very much like CVS. I was like, I don't really belong here.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to get a 6 month internship with them. That internship led me to the job I have now.
Yeah.
So the company I work at is called 321 Theatrical Management. So we run a bunch of Broadway shows, the
Mm-hmm.
most notable being Wicked.
Insane. Okay, first of all, when we were in just growing up together in school, we would call each other Broadway buddies, and one of our favorite shows to talk about was
Wicked.
Wicked.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we run Wicked.
that's
I do
crazy.
the Wicked payroll every
That's
week.
insane. Okay.
um and like it's actually been so crazy because like I mean we run Wicked, we also run Death Becomes Her on Broadway, we run The
Shut
Outsiders.
up. Yeah.
We also run this play Purpose,
Uh-huh.
and like just getting the inside scoop of all these shows, getting to like go backstage,
Hmm.
having a pass to go backstage,
You got to see the shows.
getting to see the shows.
That's the best part.
Exactly, getting
Yeah.
to like sit down and also like getting access to like all these files
Yeah.
about like the shows when they were first being conceptualized. Like I have access to the Wicked files from back in 2003 when it was first being like created.
Yeah.
And like also my bosses are the people who like helped produce Wicked in general. And also like being able to like hear about the talks of like the movie, getting to like learn like the inside scoop of like everything. Like it's just been like such a dream come true.
Hmm.
And I mean, I remember at the end of my internship, I was like, damn, this is it. Now I have to go back to whatever job I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
And then like I was lucky enough that after the 6 month internship, I guess I impressed them.
Hmm.
And they hired me on as their finance assistant, full time. So I'm working there 10 to 6 every single day over the week. Um, with, of course, even more access to things now that I'm like a full time core staff employee of the company. I just think that like there's no better like training than just like getting to talk to people who have been doing this for so many years, and like getting to like learn about like the producing aspects, getting to be invited to like all these events with like different producers and different people in the industry. Um, and also like learning that like the industry is not that big. Like it seems ginormous from like the outside of it, but like there are so many people that are like involved
Hmm.
like in like everything.
Yeah.
And getting to meet those people that are like involved in everything has
Hmm.
just been like insane. You know, every day just like being submerged in that environment has just been amazing and exactly what I wanted. And when I was at CVS and at the spa, I was like, I realized that like this is where I needed to be. Not there, but like here. Like if I had to like have a job that paid me really well and that I did from like 10 to 6 to still give me time to like do the acting and everything side of everything, and like also like finally learn the business side of things while
Yeah.
getting paid.
Hmm.
Like this is exactly what I needed, and luckily enough I was able to get it.
So, how has growing up in New York slash Jersey influenced your acting?
I think, I mean, just being a New York, North Jerseyer, as we with such close access to the city,
Yeah.
I mean, like we have opportunities to like go see shows whenever we want. And like I was very big on like I am not paying $150 to go see a show. So I always applied the lot and like I always put myself in for the lotteries for
Can you
shows.
wait? Can you tell this story about how many times you entered the
Oh my
lottery for
gosh.
Hamilton? No, this is
So
insane.
so I've seen many shows through the lottery, right? I've seen Lion King through the lottery, I've seen Aladdin through the lottery. I've seen so many shows through the lottery. Probably the majority of the shows I've seen have been through the lottery. I have always been, always will be obsessed with Hamilton.
Hmm.
And when it first came out, I was like, I need to get tickets. But of course, I was 15 years old, had no job, and the tickets were like in the 200s. They had this lottery, ham for ham, $10 front row tickets to Hamilton, but all you had to do was win the lottery. So I applied to this lottery. I think I had a running count in my bio on Instagram being like number of Hamilton lottery losses.
Hmm.
And I think I lost count around 700 and something.
700? I thought it was 500 and something.
No, it was 700.
That's
I
worse.
because I remember I would literally enter like with every email I have, I would enter like my dad, I would enter my sister, I would enter my mom, I would enter my grandma. Like and I was like, someone has to win this lottery. Someone has
Oh
to
my
win this
gosh.
lottery.
Uh huh.
But every one of those losses, like I literally counted them on my Instagram bio to the point where like I eventually just lost count because I had lost just so many times. And like I was like, well, who's winning this? Because if I'm not winning with my like 10 entries a day, like who
Oh.
is winning this? Um, and then of course like the pandemic happened and like no shows were happening, so no lottery. But in 2022,
Mhm.
after about 7 years of
Oh
trying,
my god.
I finally won the Hamilton lottery. And it's
Mhm.
funny because I got the notification while I was helping a customer at CVS.
Full circle moment.
Full circle moment. It was like my first week at CVS,
Yeah.
and I entered this lottery. I was like, I hadn't entered it in like about a month or
Mhm.
like a couple months, and I was like, let me just enter it. And I
Mhm.
entered it that morning, and the lottery results were being announced at like 3 p.m. I still had like 2.5, 3 hours left of my shift,
Mhm.
and then it said you won, and I was like, I never thought this moment was ever going to come. I literally like I remember he was talking to me about something, I don't know,
Yeah.
and I remember just looking down. I was like, and like he was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I was like, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And I went to the bathroom at CVS, and I
Mhm.
literally like bought the tickets right there and
Yeah.
then. And I told my boss, I was like, "Hey, I know it's my first week, but like tomorrow, I kind of have to leave like really early. um, is that okay?"
Yeah.
Um, and she was like, "Sure." Whatever. And so like I went to see Hamilton finally
Mhm.
after 7 years of trying that damn lottery. I finally saw Hamilton.
Oh my god. Hard work pays off,
Hard
right?
work does
Oh
pay
my
off.
god. No, but the 700 entries is insane. And then you lost count.
And then I lost count.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fabulous. That there's nothing more Marjorie branded than that, honestly. Like, that's
True. But
it.
also back to your original question, like
Yes.
I think like it's exactly stuff like that where it's like we have such close access. Like if I wasn't from North Jersey, if I was
Mhm.
living in like Kentucky and I had like entered the lottery and won for the next day, there's no way I was going to be able to hop on a plane like
Mm-mm.
right there and then and get to New York. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like the close proximity we have to the city and also just how open-minded and how loving like the city is. I think that all of that really helped influence me as an actor and be like, being able to see performances like and as many times as I could. And like, I'm a very big person where like I watch people perform and I'm like, I take like stuff from them,
You're a
and
sponge.
I'm a sponge.
Hmm.
And I think like just seeing also like a bunch of shows like helped me as like a play. I don't write a lot of plays, but like helped me as like a playwright, and also like I think it helped me solidify like what kind of roles I want to take on, and also just like in general, like what kind of shows I want to do. So I think like being a North Jersey / New York girl is probably the best thing for my acting.
Yeah. So, what are your next steps or next goals with acting? Like, where do you have a plan or like goals set for in the next few months, a year, five
I
years?
think
Where do you see yourself?
my short term immediate goal is to like finally update my reel
Okay.
because I have footage from college, and at
Mm-hmm.
this point that was like 4 or 5 years ago that this footage is from, getting together with friends and making like short films, and using like footage from that and like really using that footage to create this reel that I can eventually send off to agents and managers and be like, here you go. And like also using my connections at work to like
Yeah.
reach out and be like, hey, like, have you heard of it? Like, this show is this like, where is the show in the process of like the producing of it? Like, do you think the show's gonna come to Broadway soon?
Mm-hmm.
And like keeping that in mind to like eventually email these casting directors, um, and be like, hey, I really want to audition for your show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think that that's like my immediate goal. I think long term goal will always be like Broadway, film, or TV.
The EGOT.
The EGOT, the
Mm-hmm.
EGOT has always been like my number one goal, and I am determined to
Yes.
get it.
So finish this sentence for me.
Mhm.
I'm an actress because.
I'm an actress because it's all I ever want to do with my life, and I love it to the very, very, very core of who I am as a person and of my entire being.
So we've reached the end of our interview, but before I let you go, one thing I do with all of my guests, only because it's fair, I think, they can ask me one question and I have to answer it. So,
Mm-hmm.
Margie, what's your question for me?
Like, where do you see yourself, either in like the immediate future and like 5 or 10 years from now?
Oh my god, I'm gonna be 30. I'm sorry.
We both are.
That's so insane to me. So definitely learning to come to terms with that. No, but honestly, I do hope once I reach that point, at least career wise, I would love to get this on a larger scale. I've really realized working because my real job is working in TV, so I work with talent, producers, and everything. And I realize I love the behind the scenes, but I love being in front of the camera. It's genuinely where I feel the most comfortable. But what I love more is interviewing people. And I know a lot of fascinating people in my life, and I want to like get to know them, or, you know, even the people that I don't know, which is why I even created this show. So I would love to like interview and host people. And hopefully I can make that into a career.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Also, you will.
Yes.
You will.
Our dreams will be coming true, and it's gonna be great.
Manifesting everything.
Manifesting. We got to make the vision boards.
Truly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, Margie, that's it. I hope you enjoyed your pina colada.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Yes.
I'm trying to drink it slow because if not, all you would see on camera is me like
just
slurping
chugging.
it.
Oh my god. No, but seriously, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my god, so exciting. I'm gonna go finish up my own pina colada. But yeah, thanks for joining me.
Of
Hope you had fun.
Of course I did.
Bye guys.